The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 26th November 2020. Taste. I am. It's uncomfortable, right? Me. Since the week of the physical body began, I feel very uncomfortable, yes. I feel as if my body is against everything I do, as if suddenly, by giving it a voice, I am taking a toll on everything I have done at its expense. One does not normally think of mind and emotion dragging matter rather than inviting it. I am. And what does your body say? Me. That it feels trapped, in a cage it doesn't like. It doesn't care that the place where I'm spending my year has everything I need and they treat me like a king. It feels uncomfortable for not having adventure, for not traveling, for not being able to move. I explain that this is something that is happening to everyone, and that it is normal for us to feel that way. But at the same time, what worries it is having to spend so much time in Giza. My body's memories of this place are very different, and everything I was used to is dead. Here I used to be a woman, so being a man baffles the body. It feels misplaced. Here I lived with my family all the time together, children, husband, brothers, grandparents, parents, everyone like a clan, and now I am alone. The language sounded like music and poetry, and now it sounds like aggression and disharmonizing screams. The landscape was green, and now it is desert and dust. The constructions were Minoan style, colorful, stuccoed in white, blue, and red. And now everything is stone-colored, eroded by thousands of years. My body misses eating fish, but this year I should not eat any animals, which limits my diet in a country that is not vegetarian at all. My body is used to doing many things, like driving, climbing mountains, and now I sit in a glass crib. I get very bored. So much for my moon in Sagittarius. My body doesn't like what I'm experiencing. But that does not imply that the rest of my being thinks alike. That is, it does not mean that I want to leave here. I know that in writing these things, many may think that I am crying out to leave, to go home. But the truth is that I don't have a home. My home is the world. My family is spread over various countries and cities. I no longer own a clan like before. Now it's just my mother. But beyond the boredom I may feel, my sense of duty is much greater. I am. What is your duty? Me. To be present here, to sustain what I could not sustain thousands of years ago. A conscious network with which to share what I learned in the schools of chem. Leave my memories on the net. Connect the planetary fabric from its center here in Giza. Enable the download of new information to the magnetic grid of the planet, as long as the poles are aligned with each other. All of this is far more important than my body's desire to hike the mountains of Scotland, or take a train in France, or traverse Patagonia. I am. Is that what you'd like to do? Me. Yes, it's what my body would want. I am. Just your body? Me. No, my whole being. One thing is what one should do, and another what one would like to do. In order for one to enjoy what he likes, he must first be responsible with what he must do. I am. Unless what you have to do is exactly what you like. Me. I think that's what I always do. I always do what I like. I never do something I don't like. But this year's circumstances are different. I am. You grew up as a child with the possibility and freedom to always do and feel what you like. Beyond the typical school obligations, you never had a context of obligation. It was always easy. And this is the first time that the context demands that what you like is an obligation. Do you see the rebellion of your body? Me. Like a child. Of course. I do this because I like it, but suddenly the context forces me to do it, and there I suffer. I am. This planetary quarantine, this pandemic, has come to that. To show how damaged everyone's subconscious was. One could blame the virus, but the truth is that the virus has only shown what you were denying, covering with pleasures and things that you like. What is taste? Me. It's one of the senses, the one that allows us to identify the flavors of the things we are going to eat, to differentiate what is good from the bad, the poisonous from the nutritious. I am. Taste comes from the Indo-European geus, which means to taste. In the case of English, taste comes from the Latin taxare, which means to evaluate. In both cases, they express the intention to take a pinch of something to know if its taste is adequate or is comparable to something known. Hence, in English, the verb to like is said exactly the same as the comparative adverb, like. Thus one acquires knowledge about the things he ingests. What you call in Spanish sabor, savor in English, which comes from the Latin sapere, that is, to know, wisdom. Me. So when we say, it tastes good to me, or it tastes bad to me, it doesn't just mean taste itself, but knowledge about a fact. That in such a case it would be, what I know now is not to my liking. Why is saber related to taste? I am. There is only one reason why every living organism exists and has evolved. Me. Which one? I am. Eating. The particles exchange positive and negative energy charges, seeking balance and savings, protons and electrons. They form molecules which will exchange atoms. But some molecules will simply begin to consume the atoms of other molecules in order to expand and perfect. This generates unicellular organisms that phagocytize molecules. And as they grow and become more complex, these organisms begin to phagocytize each other for energy. In this way, by accumulating so much energy, they begin to multiply, creating multicellular organisms, which allows them to distribute energy and enable each cell to fulfill a specific function in energy processing. Multicellular organisms begin to develop organs, of which one of the first to be formed and most important will be the digestive system. The function of the digestive system will be to take complex organisms and disintegrate them until they reach the molecular level again, so that those atoms can continue to exchange. Me. Nothing has changed, only the way of agglomeration of molecules and the interaction between them. I am. That's right. Although the digestive system as such is not the first to be activated in the fetuses of living beings, it is its product that drives the first heartbeat. Well, the heart does not beat without the venous contraction pulse exerted by blood plasma originating in the bone marrow, but energized by the nutrients and sugars absorbed by the intestines. The entire goal of the blood and cardiac system is to carry the nutrients produced by the digestive system to every cell in the body. Their energy is produced in molecular exchange. This is cellular intelligence, which develops complex organisms to perfect mechanisms and increase their results. But everything that enters the body to generate nutrients, to satiate energy, to cover the voids, to energize the being, to make it feel full and in balance, must first be checked in its quality, approved by the body. This is where the stomach communicates through the esophagus with the tongue, awakening the sense of taste. Me. Taste is the ability of the tongue to determine molecular energy. Of course, it is the way in which the universe allows itself to feel the energy it consumes to create. I am. Like and dislike. The tongue is designed to perceive 5 types of flavors. In the back towards the throat, it specializes in the bitter. On both sides on the back, feel the taste acid. On both sides toward the anterior part of the tongue, perceives the salty. On the anterior tip of the tongue, the outermost part, feel the sweet. And finally, in the center, connecting all the flavors and integrating them throughout the mouth, is the umami, the one we recognize as the tastiest. Taste is how cells intelligently interpret what enters the body, preparing the rest of the digestive system based on what is ingested. Intelligence is the ability to interpret, to read what happens, and to see beyond forms. Taste thus describes the intelligent ability of cells to recognize the good from the bad. The memory of taste and disgust are found throughout the oral area, making a meal, a kiss, the act of licking, sucking, tasting, pronouncing, singing, whispering, and smelling a perfume or aroma whose particles are impregnated in the tongue by the mist that enters or leaves our body. All this awakens a fact, an information that takes us to the moments related to these flavors that here become knowledge. Taste is the sense that identifies the information that the memory of the universe seeks to integrate through a living organism like you. And all that information is energy, therefore emotion. Me. This is why food arouses so many emotions or hides them. I am. Everything you consume physically contains an emotional energy charge related to who prepared the food, how they did it, what is the context in which you eat it. Therefore, the same plate of food has a very different emotional and nutritious charge for two people. A double burger for an average American is not the same as for an Indian. Beef has a very different connotation, and having to eat it will generate a taste in one and a dislike in the other. The emotional charge of what we eat on a day-to-day basis in the 5 suggested daily foods nourish a body much more than the food itself. For the positive and negative charge and balance of a food made with love and received with love is very different from one made by duty. Do you understand? Me. I think so. You are telling me that I am feeding my body with the energy of duty and the needs of others, rather than for their own taste or for their love of cooking it. I am. It takes the kitchen of a mother, a father, a grandmother, and a grandfather every so often. A dish made with love is worth more than a dish made out of duty. And you are here out of duty. Most people do not know that day by day, along with their plate of food, they ingest the energy of the people around them, of those they love or detest. So we also talk about what we like in life and what we don't like, what we dislike. And this is also felt in the stomach, producing the same sensations as a bad meal: nausea, vomiting, indisposition, stench of breath. Me. Sure, the energy I consume from the environment, energy that my body is constantly rejecting. I am. Duty has to be turned into pleasure. Most people today are living a situation of confinement, of discontent. One would think that it would be best not to work and to be at home, but now everyone has experienced that home is where they feel uncomfortable, and that going to work was not a duty, but an escape. Being alone and fixed in one place, all the shadows, the dislikes, the disagreements come out. The questions arise as to whether everything they have done so far has been with pleasure, for their own pleasure, or for just having an escape route to inner reality. You feel that you need to fulfill a duty, just for not facing your pleasures, because they would take away from what you think is right. Your body hurts because you don't understand that the only way to assimilate something into the universe is to do it with pleasure, not by force. Why do you force yourself? Me. I feel the responsibility. I fear to fail. I fear to fail others and myself. I feel that the days I didn't go to the pyramid because I was sick are lost days when I failed everyone. I am. Here your Capricorn speaks, right? Me. Yes, the pressure on myself. I am. Whether or not you enter the pyramid, you have never moved more than 300 meters from it. You are within their energy pattern. You've never turned your back on it. But the pyramid is not your temple. Your body is your temple. And if you don't honor it, it doesn't matter if you enter the pyramid. Your body is asking you not to enter there, to be walking around it, to step on the grass, to embrace a tree, to paint, to design, to rest without pressure. He asks you to travel with your heart and allow yourself not to always travel to Egypt. Paint the places you want to travel to and live them. Recover the taste for life, because it is the only way that the universe has to feel through you. What good is it to the cosmos for someone who fulfills a tasteless mission? Remember, pleasure is the great duty for me. Taste is knowing.